So what are the different time frames involved in a lease option? Well, on a lease option, you can actually get a deal with a seller right away. It depends on how motivated they are. Yet a lot of times people want to think about it. They may even want to run the paperwork by their attorney or real estate agent, which is perfectly fine. We actually encourage that because we don't want to seem like we're pressuring them into a hasty decision. So getting a contract signed with a seller usually takes a couple of visits. Ideally, you want to talk to them on the phone, find out about the situation, run some preliminary information as far as the value of the house, go visit them at their house, go inspect the property, and then perhaps sign the deal right on the spot or come back to sign the deal after they had a chance to talk things over, maybe negotiate with you. And some of these deals could happen in one afternoon. Some of it can happen over a span of months. We get calls all the time where people say, hey, I met you several months ago and now I'm ready to do that deal. So people have different time frames of when they decide to do something, and when they're ready to do it, be ready to sign for it. So lease options with sellers could take days, weeks, months, sometimes even years. And then with buyers, essentially, they get into a rental, and most of the time, they are just happy to get into the rental. They just want to ask how much down and how much they have to pay each month. Yes, they have the option to buy, yet a lot of them, they just take their time on that, and really some of them don't even exercise their option to purchase the property. Maybe they still haven't gotten their act together, maybe their financials still not in place, yet it really depends on when that tenant is ready to purchase. And what we usually like to do is we usually like to give our tenants a 1-year lease so that at the end of the year, if they didn't buy the property, we will reevaluate the situation, perhaps renew the lease with them, or perhaps they're going to move out after a year. So we usually like to do a 1-year lease with the tenant, and then with the seller, we usually like at least a 3 or 5 or 10-year lease, because that just gives us a longer time frame to be able to get our tenant financing. Unusual though, we don't usually go in less than 2 years with the seller, averagely 3 to 5. And then for the tenant, once again, 1 year is what we like to do with them, because we want to be able to adjust the price accordingly. So if the price of the house starts to climb, then we don't want to lose that appreciation by giving them a multi-year lease. That's why we usually do a 1-year lease with the tenant.